then there's also like people that are elites, and that's their thing. Like their thing is to do something that is horrible, and it's not available to other people. So it's like, I think there's like a sickness that people have when they have power, like extreme power, and then what else can I do? What else can I do? What else is what else is taboo? What else is forbidden?
It all started with smiles on red carpets and flashes from cameras. Diddy and Leonardo DiCaprio were just two successful names in a sea of Hollywood power. But behind those smiles, behind the luxury, behind the fame, there's a pattern that can no longer be ignored. The entertainment world has a way of hiding things in plain sight, and for years, no one asked the hard questions. But now, the silence is cracking. And when you begin to trace the steps, everything starts pointing to a troubling connection between one of music's most powerful figures and one of Hollywood's biggest stars. What did Leonardo see? Why was he so close to Diddy? And why won't he speak?
It's Leo. You're like, damn it.
God damn it.
Leo struck again.
Well, if she's over 30, you don't even have to worry about Leo.
Not over like 23.
Yeah,
30. 30
That's
is like
what I
over
saw.
the hill.
Remember the photos of Jeff Bezos and his girlfriend,
Would she
Leonardo
like the
DiCaprio?
lady?
Yeah, she was like smiling at him, and then Jeff Bezos was joking around about pushing him off a cliff.
Yeah.
But you don't have to worry about her, bro. She's 50.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you could see her doing like the cost benefit analysis.
Diddy made a name for himself as more than just a music producer. He became a brand, a lifestyle, and a power player who seemed to have connections everywhere. From fashion to nightlife to television, Diddy had his hands in everything. He threw exclusive parties, attended major industry events, and somehow always surrounded himself with the biggest names in the game, even when they had nothing to do with music. That included Leonardo DiCaprio. The connection between these two may not have made sense to the public at first, but it was very real, and it went back decades.
If you listen to the tabloids, your hotel room was a revolving door for every, hot young thing in town.
Wow, you can't believe what you read.
Leonardo became famous at a young age. After standout performances in films like Titanic and The Basketball Diaries, he became Hollywood's favorite leading man. With his boyish looks and acting talent, he was everywhere, on magazine covers, talk shows, and at movie premieres. But behind all that fame was a surprising relationship that few ever talked about: his constant presence at Diddy's private events. These weren't public charity galas or film parties. They were invite-only, behind-closed-doors get-togethers where only a select few were allowed in. And somehow Leo was always on that list. The question is why? What was a young actor doing at parties thrown by a hip-hop mogul? What was the reason for the constant connection? And more importantly, what did Leonardo see during all those years of being close to Diddy? At first, it seemed like just another celebrity friendship. But now that Diddy is under serious legal pressure and facing questions about his behavior, those old connections look different. They don't feel harmless anymore. They feel like part of a much larger web, a network that stretched across Hollywood, music, fashion, and politics. And Leonardo, he wasn't just near the center. He was part of the core. When you go back and look at the photos, it's all there. Leonardo and Diddy at clubs, at award shows on yachts, at VIP-only gatherings. The pattern repeats again and again. In some of those pictures, Leo looks uncomfortable. In others, he's smiling, blending in. But what matters isn't the pose, it's the consistency. He was there, again and again. And that kind of presence doesn't happen by accident.
P. Diddy party. This is what happens to the white man.
It's so unfortunate.
You gotta pull back though, so they can see. That's crazy. Matt, move out the way. You're still alive. Look at that. Look. Would you?
He had a drink on his head.
And that's James from Simeon Mobile Disco. He is a actual DJs. I'm supposed to pass out, but when they come to one of my parties, this is what happens to them.
What's going to happen though, you think?
Well, Diddy's going to be in jail for the rest of his life. I think he's probably going to get
Think he's
hit up.
insane though?
I don't know. I don't even think it matters.
But then it's just another
There's
Epstein. It's
murder
another
cases.
Ghislaine Maxwell, where
there's
somebody gets
murder
indicted and
cases.
nobody else. Indicted for trafficking kids to
Right,
no
to
one.
no one.
got my MTV. I'm savage. I'm a savage. Oh, I'm a savage. Whatever I want, I'm going to get. Whatever I want, I have to get.
Everybody hung with Diddy. That's the other tricky thing. Like, Diddy hung out with everybody. And I've spoken to a bunch of people who are like, yo, great dude, like always there for you, never asked for a single thing.
Till 1 a.m.
And then freak off.
Everybody says, get out of the house. Yeah. It's just amazing how many people in the Diddy party list that are supporting Kamala. Too.
Yeah, seriously. It's like insane.
Publicly, openly, like all in.
Yes. It's like J-Lo like was like his ex-girlfriend. and it's like now deciding she's like warning people against Trump. I'm like, well, wait a second. So how many people did she warn against Diddy?
Right.
Oh, 0. Okay.
Right.
Well, maybe we shouldn't trust her opinion.
Joe Rogan recently brought attention to this strange history on his podcast. He wasn't throwing wild accusations. He was pointing out the obvious. Diddy always had young stars around him, and Leonardo DiCaprio was one of the first. Rogan asked the same question many fans are asking now. Why hasn't anyone ever talked about this? Why did the media never raise an eyebrow about the repeated sightings of a young Leo around one of the most powerful and now controversial men in the entertainment industry? The more you think about it, the harder it is to explain. Leonardo was famous enough on his own. He didn't need Diddy to boost his career. He didn't need a music connection to land acting roles. So what did Diddy provide? And what did Leo get in return for staying close? Some people say it was just the perks, access to places, power, and connections. Others believe there was a deeper reason, one that may never be fully understood. But either way, it's clear now that Leo's silence speaks volumes. He has never once spoken out about Diddy. Not in interviews, not in statements, not even in casual comments. And as Diddy's troubles grow, that silence is getting louder. Leonardo has always been known as private. He doesn't do many interviews. He doesn't post on social media much. He avoids controversy. But now that the spotlight is on Diddy, Leo's refusal to say anything is starting to backfire. The public wants answers, and when a major celebrity stays completely quiet while someone close to them is surrounded by serious accusations, people start to wonder what they're hiding. It's not just about what Leonardo saw, it's about what he chose to ignore. Did he know what kind of person Diddy was? Did he see things that made him uncomfortable but chose to look the other way? Did he feel pressured to stay close to someone with so much power? These are the questions fans are asking, and so far, Leo has said nothing. And it's not just Leonardo, there are others. Many celebrities who used to praise Diddy or attend his events are suddenly quiet. Some are deleting photos, others are avoiding interviews. But Leonardo stands out because of how long and how closely he was tied to Diddy. He wasn't just a guest, he was a regular. And that kind of history doesn't just vanish. People have also started rewatching old interviews. One clip from the 90s shows Leonardo getting asked about the people he spends time with in the industry. He hesitates, looks off camera, and quickly changes the subject. At the time, it looked like a normal reaction. Now it feels like something more, like a missed chance to say something meaningful. Joe Rogan pointed out that Hollywood runs on silence. If you want to keep working, you don't make waves, you don't talk about the wrong people, you stay out of trouble, and you get rewarded. Maybe that's what Leonardo was doing all these years, playing the game. But now that the truth about Diddy is starting to come out, the game has changed, and the public isn't willing to let this slide anymore. People want honesty, they want accountability, they want stars to use their voices, not to sell movies or fashion, but to speak out when something is clearly wrong. Leonardo has a platform bigger than most. If he said something now, it would make headlines around the world. But every day he stays silent, more people are losing trust. It's not enough anymore to say that was a long time ago. The past matters, and if Leonardo spent years inside Diddy's circle, he has a responsibility to explain why and what he saw. Even if he wasn't involved in anything bad, he owes his fans the truth. He owes the industry some clarity. Because right now, it looks like he's trying to wait for the storm to pass instead of facing it head on. Hollywood has a long history of covering up for powerful people, but that history is being rewritten. The internet doesn't forget. Fans are putting the pieces together, watching the footage, reading the reports, and asking questions. And if Leonardo thinks he can stay quiet forever, he's mistaken. The truth always comes out. The longer Leo waits, the more suspicious it seems. This isn't about protecting himself anymore. It's about choosing to be on the right side of history. And right now, that means telling the truth about what really happened at all those private events, behind all those velvet ropes, and inside all those high-rise apartments. It's time for Leonardo to be honest, not because it's easy, but because silence is no longer an option. If he truly had nothing to hide, then he should say so. If he was unaware, then say that too. But hiding in the shadows while Diddy's empire crumbles sends a message whether he means it or not. Joe Rogan said it best: if you were in the room, you're part of the story. Leonardo was in the room many times, and now it's time for him to speak. Until then, the public will keep asking, and the spotlight will keep growing. Because Diddy's downfall isn't just about one man, it's about every person who helped him build his empire, either by action or by silence. And Leonardo DiCaprio is now one of those names under the microscope. The glitz, the parties, the smiles, they all meant nothing if they were built on silence. And the people are no longer blinded by the lights. The silence around Leonardo isn't just hurting his image, it's starting to raise red flags for other people in the industry. Directors, producers, and brands are beginning to wonder if staying close to him could come with consequences. Nobody wants their name tied to someone who may have stood by while others were mistreated or taken advantage of. In an age where accountability is more important than ever, even big names like Leonardo are no longer protected just because they're famous. Behind the scenes, some insiders are saying that Leonardo's team is trying to manage the fallout. They're not planning a big public statement, but they're working on quietly changing the narrative. Suddenly, Leonardo is showing up at different events, doing more charity work, and making appearances that feel carefully planned. It looks like damage control, but fans are smart and they know when something is real and when it's just a cover-up. And then there's Diddy. As his legal troubles grow, more and more people who used to defend him are staying quiet. Some of them have even started distancing themselves completely. But Leonardo hasn't said a word. He hasn't unfollowed Diddy. He hasn't taken down old photos. He hasn't made any effort to show that he disagrees with the kind of behavior now being linked to Diddy's name. That silence is starting to look more like loyalty than fear, and that's exactly what people are worried about. If Leonardo had spoken up even once, even to say he didn't know what was happening, it might have made a difference. But by staying completely silent, he's created a situation where fans are filling in the blanks for themselves, and what they're imagining is worse than anything he could have said. When people feel like they're being lied to or that the truth is being hidden, they start digging. They start asking harder questions. And now they're not just asking about Diddy, they're asking about everyone who helped protect him, even if they didn't realize it at the time. Hollywood is watching this closely. Other celebrities are watching it too. Many of them are probably wondering if they're next, if they went to the same parties, appeared in the same photos, or praised the same people. Will they be pulled into the spotlight like Leonardo? It's possible. Because the truth is finally starting to matter more than the brand, the image, or the press release. And that scares a lot of people who have been comfortable for a long time. Some fans are even calling for Leonardo to be removed from future movie projects until he explains his connection to Diddy. They're saying that silence is no longer acceptable and that being just an actor isn't an excuse. When you benefit from fame, you also carry responsibility. That's what the public expects now, and it's clear that Leonardo isn't meeting that standard. Meanwhile, Diddy continues to lose support every day. Big names are pulling away, brands are dropping deals, and lawsuits are piling up. The truth is closing in, and anyone still standing near him is going to get caught in the storm. Leonardo might think he's safe because he hasn't been named in any reports, but being quiet while everyone else takes a stand is its own kind of choice, and that choice is becoming harder and harder to defend. Joe Rogan said it clearly: when the truth comes out, it doesn't just take down the villain, it exposes the bystanders too. The people who said nothing, the ones who looked the other way, the ones who smiled in pictures and stayed in the room when others walked out. Leonardo DiCaprio was in the room. And unless he speaks up soon, the world is going to remember that long after the headlines fade. This isn't about cancel culture, it's about character. And it's about whether someone as powerful as Leonardo is willing to do the right thing when it really matters. The fans don't want a press tour or a movie promotion. They want honesty. They want someone brave enough to say, I was there and I should have asked more questions. And if Leonardo can't do that, then maybe it's time for people to stop giving him a free pass. Maybe it's time to realize that being famous doesn't mean being innocent, that being talented doesn't mean being trusted, and that even the biggest stars can fall when they choose silence over truth.